everyone, can we get diagonal lines in a cast pot using eco resin alternatives? Very good question. I'm so glad you asked. Actually, that's just something that was been going around in my head. Let's have a look and see if we can do it. Now, why I'm suddenly thinking I can do this is because I've got these fantastic new pots, or rather moulds. These are from Boowan Nicole, I think that's how you pronounce it. And this is the difference. This frame that goes around it. Now, I've tried to do diagonal lines in pots before by colouring my eco pour or my resin, tipping the pot to an angle, pouring it in, then the next layer I tip it back the other way. Well, of course what happens is the pot, the mould, distorts. Look, you can see I've tipped that to one side, suddenly this is oval rather than round. That's not a camera trick or an optical illusion, that is really what happens. Now, along come the moulds with a supporting frame. Now, normally these are hideously expensive. Can I just say these aren't? Now, I'll put you a link to get these. Honestly, their stuff is gorgeous. It is for EcoPore and their own brand as well. They do their own version, like a two-parter one, a bit like Jesmonite, that sort of thing. Looks very good, but I'm just going to be using my EcoPore. But that's what these moulds are intended for. They are like a satiny finish. They are not shiny. So yes, of course you can use them for resin, but you're not going to get a shiny finish unless you top coat it or something. But look, isn't that great? Now, I reckon I can tip this back and forth and get angles of colours. So that's what I'm going to try and do. And then we'll try and do something similar with the lid, which is just a single piece normal one, but it's lovely soft silicone. But I just think because it's quite shallow, we're not going to have the distorting problem. So the other thing I'm going to need to find before we get going is something to just prop things at a nice angle and keep them firmly that way. So I'm off to hunt for something. Here we are. So I'm going to use this to prop it up, because that I think should keep it at a decent angle. Now let's see, what angle is that at? It's not that steep, not that steep. Now maybe we could go a bit steeper. I might need to put something at this end to stop it, you know, sliding this way. But let's get those level-ish. And then hopefully we can put our pot on there and it'll stay put. Oh, let's look at that, it's staying put. And as I said, this frame should keep the whole thing straight. Right, that's the theory. So this is our theory. We've got this angle. Now I'm going to put some colour into each of 3 pots, and we've also got, of course, the lid, which I'm just going to sit. I'm just going to sit the lid on here and keep moving it around. Right, our colours then. We have got from Homeware Designs. We have got avocado and apricot. That's a fruity theme. I've got a citrus one as well, but yeah, 2 colours is enough because we're going to have white as well. Now, I've got to stir it up with plastic fork. I've got some water, and let's take it from there. So the first colour I'm going to do, let's go with the apricot. Now, I'll put your links for all this down below. These, trust me, these moulds are not expensive for what they are. They are amazing value for something this higher quality. The colours are from Homeware Design. Again, these go a long way, so very good value. Because, I mean, I've been using these for ages and the bottles hardly seem to have gone down. You only need a little bit. So we need a bit of those. Your EcoPore, I can offer you a discount code on this one because I am an ambassador for EcoPore. So I've got a nice discount code for you. All the links are down below, and anything that there's a discount code, that is also down below for you. So enjoy if you get some of these things. EcoPore, for anybody who's not seen it before, it's a white casting powder. It's a nice alternative to resin. You can mix it just with water, so it's very simple. It's meant to be 30 parts water to 100 parts powder, or 3 to 10, depends how you want to work that out. But you can go a little bit either side of that, and honestly, I don't bother measuring it. I just chuck it in till I get the consistency I want. And sometimes I will make it runnier just because I want a runnier mix. So I will quite deliberately go quite a bit runnier, and that's fine. Water-based colours, most water-based colours will work. Look how vibrant that is, isn't that lovely? That's beautiful. But yeah, so sometimes I do it a bit runnier. I might do it a little bit runnier this time. That's quite a good consistency at the moment. But you can make it a bit thicker, a bit thinner. Depends what you're making with it. You know, it really won't mind if you play with it a little bit. If you're mixing up a lot, by the way, a nice silicone mixing bowl or a jug or something like that you can actually get in there with a proper whisk. I've got a couple of those silicone whisks. They work a treat in bigger bowls. I'm sure you've seen Claire's Crafty Corner using those as well, with jessamite and stuff like that. But as we're only doing a fairly small amount today, let's get something to put my dirty fork down on. Yeah, as we're only doing a small amount today, then I am using just a plastic fork. Okay, so there's our orangey colour. Now this stuff, you do have a pot life of 10 minutes, 15 if you're lucky. And you know, if you're just cracking on with it, just doing one colour or whatever, you can demould it in about half an hour. Although I tend to leave it more like an hour because it can be a little bit brittle when you first demould it at half an hour. But it's wonderful stuff, it really is. And for the hard of thinking like me, who don't want to have to be measuring stuff, like I said, it really doesn't mind if you're a bit off either way. So I just chuck it in until I get a nice thick creamy consistency and I'm happy. Now I'm going to encourage that down a little bit with a stick. So I kind of want that to go down the side really. And we're just going to keep going like this and turning it and putting in another colour and yeah, until we've ended up with what we think, we won't need to know till we demould, but what we think is the effect we were after. I don't necessarily want a multicoloured bottom until I get to the actual bottom. So just cleaning off the base of the mould here. I am going to give it a little tippy tap. That helps to get any bubbles out of awkward corners. You know, where you get a right angle in a mould and sometimes bubbles get trapped. This lip here is the devil for getting bubbles trapped under it. I do know that. So it is a wise move to have a little tap around. Normally, if I was laying this mould flat, I'd be going under the edge there with a little stick. Right, so we've got a little bit left in the pot and I've got a little bit of playtime with it still. Playtime, that's what I call pot time. It's playtime, of course it is. And yeah, so I'm just going to scrape that little bit out because waste not, want not. The other reason for giving it a little tap, of course, is it doesn't necessarily self-level. It depends how thickly you've mixed it. I've mixed it reasonably thickly, so it's probably about right on the recommended mix there. So if you give it a little tap, it'll level itself out. Right, I'm going to have a clean up in half an hour. We'll come back and this will have, well, it will basically have cured. And because we're not going to be demoulding it or anything, that should be a perfect time to put our next colour in. So I'll see you in half an hour. It's been about half an hour, so this stuff it's cured basically, which means we can go in with our next colour. I think the next colour wants to just be white, you know. So let's just go in with white and then we'll do the green last and then we'll see how much space we've still got left in the pots, because if there's still a bit of room we'll go back in with another colour and so on until they're full. So what we're going to do is tip them to one side. I kind of want to get colours going in at different angles. Does that make sense? How runny is this? That's a bit too runny. Let's put a little bit more in. This is what I mean by you can just mess with it. Don't forget you've got to crack on with it though if you're going to mess with it, because you have only got that few minutes of pot time. Just grab a cloth. So here we go in with our white. But first, and I should have done this before I got to this stage, we're going to turn. So we're going to go that way and we're going to go that way. Yes, about 90 degrees. Let's go 90 degrees. Right. And this probably isn't the most stable of things, by the way. You might be better off doing the balancing act some other way, because this really isn't ideal, is it? But never mind, it should work. Okay, we're going right up to the brim. Didn't mix this very well, it's a bit lumpy. However, what did I say about it being quite forgiving? It won't mind. It's not ideal, obviously, but I should have mixed it a little bit longer, got it a bit less lumpy. Anyway, never mind. So there's the white gone in, and again, a bit of a tap will help to self-level it, hoping to get something like a fairly straight line. Probably won't, but it should all the same be a kind of a nice crisp dividing line between the colours, because we're letting them cure in between. Giving it a bit of a wipe round again. What we'll do when we get down to the last layer, we'll just flop them flat and just fill them right up to the brim with what we've decided is our last colour, which should be the green, but we'll see. Yeah, do something more substantial than this if you're going to do this, because this is really wobbly and it's going to go everywhere at some point, isn't it? This could all end very badly. Right, I'll see you for the next bit. Another half an hour. Right, so been about half an hour again. Yeah, that appears to be cured. Let's go in with some green. Got everything cleaned up. Excuse the other bits and pieces I've got cluttering the place up. Just experimenting with a few other things, including making jewellery with this stuff, because they say it can't be done, apparently. Right. Don't forget, everyone, if you like these sort of eco resin alternatives, I do have a whole playlist full of this stuff. I'm working on it. It's going to build and build. There's quite a few bits in there already, though. But yeah, because I get asked about it a lot, and because it is such a fun alternative to resin, you need to think about it differently. When it says alternative to resin, it's a completely different media. To me, it's like a professional version of doing things with plaster of Paris. It's durable, it's stuff that you can actually make proper housewares with, which plaster of Paris you wouldn't. But look at these colours. Just a dot more, I think. But yeah, so it's not, whilst you can cast with it exactly, well, you cast with it in the moulds that you use for your resin, you can use your resin moulds for a lot of things, can't you? So I don't think of it as a resin alternative. It's better to try to think of, this is a whole new medium, what can I do with it? Do you get what I'm going with that? It's, yeah. Because I can't imagine we're ever going to get a clear version of this for starters. Okay, so we're turning, going 90 degrees again. Don't worry about the bubbles, because again we're going to be doing a bit of tippy tapping. Now I've ended up with a gap in the middle, but like I said earlier, we'll fill that with something. We'll pick which colour to fill it with. Actually, you know what? I'm going to knock this onto the flat and oops. And I am actually going to fill it up now with that one. Maybe we do the same with the pot. Don't know. I'm thinking maybe there's room for another colour yet in the pot. Well, another row of one of these colours. Yeah, probably more. Now that is coming up to the rim now. So I've got to decide what I do about that final fill. And I don't think it is going to be the green on this bit, on this part, on the main pot. Let's give it a tap. And the reason I say that is I just think I'm fancying maybe the orange as the last colour. Or more white, don't know, probably orange. Probably orange. See, I'm trying to get this down to, now we are actually coming up onto the base with our colours. I'm trying to get this down to just roughly a straight line. I mean, these things are handmade. You don't want anything too straight liney, I suppose, do you? Do you? I don't know. Now I'm going to have to give the little lid a good shake this time, because we are now up under that lip. And if you remember, that lip is where I said bubbles can trap. So I'm going to do this all the way around. I could go around with a little spike, but some of it is actually cured, hasn't it? So what I'm going to do is go for the side where we've currently got no colour and just do that and hope that that releases it. Frankly, if I get the odd bubble, I'm not too panicky about it. If they're too perfect, then they may as well just have been machine produced, don't they? Defeats the whole object of that character and personality that you get by handmade. Back in another half an hour. Right, I've just had time to go and make a cup of tea. It's nice this, when I'm working with resin. So you have to take your mask off, and so you have to drink your tea. So it just ends up going cold most of the time, because I can't obviously then have to take it out of the room. You might see a mug in the room with me. But when it's always a joke and to remind me to go and drink it. But I have to take my mask off to drink it. So, you know, it's nice not to have to worry about masks. Or gloves for that matter. Right, we're laying this flat now. And I think my last colour is going to be, because that's the only thing, you can't see, so you don't know. You don't know what it's doing. But my last colour, I think, will be the orangey one again. You either want stuff to be a complete contrast or match exactly. Anything that's just a bit off just looks like an accident. That's better. I think that's going to be closer. Might not be too much anyway, but if there is, then I've got somewhere. We can do a stripy frog. We could do a stripy frog, couldn't we? Yeah, I've got too much. Although it's still going in somewhere, isn't it? I might not have. It's disappearing. Must be pouring down the sides. Oh, looks like we're okay. Didn't need the frog. I know what I'll do. This mould is a bit dirty. It was in my cleaning stuff box. But I'm just going to put a bit, the last bit, into a one of these. This is holographic. And the only reason I'm doing this is to show you that holographic doesn't work. Is that a weird thing to be demonstrating? Something that definitely doesn't work. But I've been asked about this so many times, and people keep saying, oh, so-and-so says it does. Well, I can't get it to work. So if anybody can link me a video where they've managed to get holographic to work on an eco resin alternative, I will be delighted. Apparently there's somebody on YouTube out there saying that you can do it. I'm not sure who it is, that's the only thing. Nobody seems to be able to tell me who that is. If any of you spot that video or know who it is that's claiming that you can, please will you let me know? Because if you can get holographics to work on EcoPore and they're right, I'd really love to know about it. I really would. But I just don't think you get a shiny enough surface. It's not fine enough to pick up the holographic effect from the mould. Whereas resin, of course, picks it up beautifully. I just think it's one of those things that ain't going to work unless you put like a holographic film onto the surface somehow separately, like as a sticker or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, let me know if you can, if you could. That'd be great. If you know who that is, I would love to see what they've managed to do. Always looking for ideas, especially if it's something I haven't succeeded in doing myself, because that's just really frustrating if you think somebody else has. Right then, so I now am going to leave this for a proper hour. We don't need the frog mould, so I'll put him away again. So I'll see you in an hour, or in the blink of an eye for you, of course. Oh, this is so frustrating. I can't wait. Right, this is still wet. It's been like, it's not even 5 minutes since I filmed the previous bit. But I want to get this out. Because, of course, this, I need to be careful with it because it hasn't been that long. But this is done. It hasn't needed yet another layer. Should we do it? Should we do it? Oh, look at the pretty colours. Oh, the pretty colours. And they have blurred slightly, a bit, I don't know. Let's see what the top looks like. Oh, look. So we have got a little bit of a blur. The colours aren't as separated as I hoped they would be. but it's still pretty darn good. Now I'm going to sand that a little bit. So while this is curing, let's push it all to one side and do a little bit of sanding, and then I'll show you how we actually how we seal it. Boowan Nicole very kindly sent me this amongst all the bits and pieces that they sent me, and it's a sanding thingy, and this comes off, it's just velcroed on, so I've got a load of spare heads for it as well, but it makes your sanding really easy. So let's clean up a little bit. I don't know why, because I'm about to make a mess again. Now I'm going to sand this surface because I've got a little bit of an edge to take off. So I'm just going to tip it to an angle like that and take that edge away. There we are. So that's that done. Now the other bit I wanted to sand, just because I want to see what happens, is this surface. Now this will go right up to the edges for me. So let's see what happens if we sand, because I have ended up, because of the layers that we've done, I have ended up with a slight step. So let's have a go. First thing to report, the Velcro is holding good, that's fine. So that's actually sharpening up the divisions between the colours. So what must have happened as I turned it, a little bit has gone underneath. And so I have got, like, I can actually feel like a join. But I don't necessarily need it to be perfect. I quite like the colours overlapping, but the smoothing the surface off would be good. There we are. Right, let's have a clean up, and then I'll show you what we do about sealing it. I have a new favourite sealant. You'll be glad to know. I don't know if you're that glad to know, if you're interested. I have to say, that's worked really well, hasn't it? I think I probably should have left the white a little bit longer. Don't know. I think that's what's happened there. And maybe I moved it as I tipped it. Just going to run around the edges a little bit there, because again, there's a little bit of a step there. Yeah, I think the white needed maybe a little bit longer. We'll see what the pot comes out like, but we've got a nice divisions between the colours, I think, personally. Yes, and my new favourite sealant. Now, as you know, I've been using the Homeware Design wax for a long time. I've also been using, more recently, Create and Bloom's Paint On wax. That's really good as well. I love them both. But this has appeared. And this, again, is a wax, but it's softer. That's all. Now, what does it say on the lid? It says food grade, odourless, natural, waterproof and colour protection. And it's another one from Boowan Nicole, and they very kindly sent me this. But what I'm finding is it's softer, so it's easier. And what you do is you take it and you rub it into your surface. Make sure it's got a good coat all over. I'm going around the edges as well. I'll go up the little handle, do the whole thing. Now you probably can't see where it is, but I can feel it. There we go, let's go up there, and we're going to give it a really good rub in. Sometimes I just squish it across, but if you want to make something that's going to be quite hard wearing, then do give it a good rub. So that's what's going on here. A good rub. Then we're going to go around the underneath as well. So I can feel where this is going on. It's wax, so it feels kind of a bit slippy, so make sure you don't go dropping it. It doesn't go whoosh out of your hand. So if you don't want to spoil your lovely sort of matte, rather tactile finish, then a wax is the way to go rather than a paint-on sealer. Let's pop the lid back on this. This is how it came, by the way. The little tub of the wax, good sized tub actually, the sponge and a little soft cloth, that lovely, and all in this neat little pack. So that's cool, isn't it? So what we're going to do now is we're just going to buff it off. Now don't forget, this stuff reaches its very fullest strength in 48 hours. And also really you should leave it to, before you put your wax on, and I'll do this with the pot itself, let it, all the moisture really loose out of it. So I would suggest leave it at least a day, maybe that full 48 hours, before you actually do what I'm doing now. So I am putting the lid a little bit at risk here. But then it is just for me, so it doesn't matter too much. But yeah, there's a danger of actually sealing moisture in if you're not careful. So although it's cured, just give it, just sit it on the side, ignore it for a couple of days and then wax it, I would recommend. But isn't that adorable? Right, we'll be back to do the actual pot, not too long. Give it another half an hour or so, a bit longer maybe, and then we'll get that pot out. Here we go then, taking the clips off, got our lid at the ready. Let's take the housing away. Give that a little wipe round so it's all clean for next time. It does scratch off here, easy enough, look, comes straight off the plastic. So nice and clean for next time. Pop it away, and here we are. The exciting bit. Now, just cleaning off the outside of the mould just because I want to. There's no particular reason. And here we go, here we go, here we go. Now this is how soft these moulds are. Look at that. Woohoo! And unlike resin, well, it looks like I've got a little bit of bubbles there. Unlike resin, you can't get water down into it to help it on its way, can you? So, well, you could, but I don't think it'd help. Or anything else that you might want to spray down your mould. So really for this sort of medium you do want a nice, oh, that's worked. That's worked! It's worked! Got a little bit of blend across there, but I don't care. What was I saying? Oh yes, these demould easy enough anyway. There you go. Look at that. Oh, I don't know about you, but I really like that. It's got the slight imperfections of handmade. It looks organic. It looks like it's ceramic. That is awesome. So I'm just going to let this air. As I said, I'll get some of the wax on it, and you know what? That is going to get used. That might end up with some more of my fish food in it. Look at the inside. Oh, look at the inside. So I didn't get the lines perfect. Yeah, and maybe if I'd left it half an hour longer before I put the next colour in. As usual, I was being impatient, but I don't think that matters. I think that's part of its charm. The fact we've got some little rim of bubbles around there. Again, it's made it look. It's given it that lovely handmade feel, and it feels so nice. Anyway, right, yes, get yourself together, girl. I will be taking some photos of this shortly, getting that wax layer on it, just the same as I did for the lid. Nice and easy peasy. And yeah, that'll be us done. So if you like this video, do pop me a like, and you know where the subscribe button is. It's all down here somewhere, so just click things. That'd be great, thank you. And let me know what you think. What else would you like to see me try with this stuff? Because I think it's pretty awesome. And Boowan Nicole, oh, your moulds. I just think that is the most adorable little pot. That is fantastic. I love it. So, and the colours, those are from Homeware Designs. Like I said, I'll put your links for everything down below. And wherever I've got discount codes, they will be down below as well. So have fun. Happy crafting, everyone, and I will see you for the next video. Bye, crafty gang. Oh, and I nearly forgot. Look, holographic doesn't work with this medium. So if you do know who it is that's been saying they can get holographics to work on this, please, please, please link me, because I would love to see if someone has succeeded. That would be amazing.